Ever wondered why it's so easy to clean your entire house when you have a deadline looming? It's not because you've suddenly developed an obsession with cleanliness. It's a classic case of what's known as productive procrastination. This is when we trick ourselves into thinking we're accomplishing something of value, when in reality, we're just avoiding the tasks we should be focusing on. Sound familiar? That's because it's a widespread issue. We all fall into this trap from time to time. We'll do everything from organizing our desks to replying to non-urgent emails, all to avoid tackling the more challenging, but ultimately more rewarding tasks at hand. The problem with productive procrastination is that it can give us a false sense of accomplishment. We feel like we've been productive when in fact we've just been busy. It's a subtle but crucial difference. Productive procrastination may feel satisfying, but it's a major roadblock to achieving our larger goals. To tackle this issue, we first need to understand the role of a little chemical in our brain called dopamine. Often dubbed as the feel-good hormone, dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that transmits signals in the brain and other vital areas of the body. It's a key player in our reward system, motivating us to do, well, just about anything. Here's where it gets interesting. When we anticipate a reward, our brain releases dopamine. This surge makes us feel good, even euphoric at times, and drives us to take action. This is why we're so often pulled towards activities that bring immediate gratification, like scrolling through social media or binge-watching a new series. It's a quick hit of dopamine and our brain loves it. But dopamine isn't just about instant gratification. It also plays a significant role in motivation and focus. When we're working on a task that we find rewarding, dopamine keeps us engaged and on track. It's the driving force that pushes us to finish that workout, complete a challenging project, or even just finish cleaning the house. Now, here's the catch. Dopamine is a bit of a double-edged sword when it comes to productivity. On one hand, it can spur us into action, driving us to accomplish tasks and chase our goals. On the other hand, it can also lead us into the trap of productive procrastination. You've probably experienced this before. You have a big task or project looming, but instead of tackling it head-on, you find yourself busying with other less important tasks. You're still being productive, sure, but you're avoiding the main task at hand. Why? Because those smaller tasks are easier and provide quicker dopamine hits. It's our brain's way of seeking the path of least resistance. So, if we can hack our dopamine system, we can potentially control our tendency to procrastinate. Intriguing, isn't it? By understanding how dopamine works, we can start to use it to our advantage, harnessing its power to boost our productivity and avoid the lure of productive procrastination. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this fascinating topic. The first step of the dopamine hack is to identify the rewards that your brain is seeking. In the labyrinth of our minds, there's a sneaky little neurotransmitter named dopamine. This minuscule molecule is the maestro of our motivation, the captain of our cravings, and the director of our desires. And it's precisely this character we need to understand to avoid the trap of productive procrastination. So, how does dopamine work? Well, it's like your brain's personal cheerleader, always ready with a good job or a keep going whenever you engage in activities that bring you pleasure. It's the thrill of crossing off a task from your to-do list, the satisfaction of a well-cooked meal, or the joy of a good laugh with friends. These are all rewards that your brain seeks, and dopamine is the driving force behind them. Now, here's the twist. Sometimes our brains find certain tasks more rewarding than others. Perhaps scrolling through social media is more appealing than writing a report. Maybe watching a movie feels more satisfying than washing the dishes. It's not that these tasks are inherently more enjoyable, but our brains perceive them as more rewarding because they're easier and provide instant gratification. This is where productive procrastination sneaks in. Productive procrastination is when we substitute high-priority tasks with low-priority ones. It's not that we're not doing anything, we are, but we're avoiding the tasks that truly matter. And this habit can be a real hurdle on our road to success. So, how do we overcome this? By identifying the rewards. Ask yourself, what tasks or activities give you pleasure? What makes you feel accomplished? What ignites that spark of satisfaction in you? Take a moment to reflect on these questions. Identifying your rewards is like decoding the language of your dopamine. It helps you understand what your brain finds rewarding and why it might prefer certain tasks over others. This understanding is the foundation of our dopamine hack and a crucial step in avoiding the trap of productive procrastination. Once you've identified your rewards, you're ready to move on to the next step. Now it's time to reprogram those rewards. Imagine your brain is a computer and we're about to perform a system update. This update is going to change the way your brain perceives the completion of tasks. You see, your brain loves rewards. It's always seeking them out. But we're going to tweak the settings a bit. We're going to make your brain crave the satisfaction of completing important tasks, rather than indulging in the seemingly rewarding act of procrastination. The first step in this reprogramming process is breaking down tasks. Let's say you have a big project looming. Instead of seeing it as one gigantic task, break it down into manageable chunks. This makes the task less intimidating and more achievable. Plus, every time you complete a chunk, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical, making you want to continue. Next, set clear goals. Your brain loves a good target. It's like a heat-seeking missile for rewards. So give it a target. Define what you want to achieve, and make sure it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is known as setting SMART goals. By doing this, you're giving your brain a clear path to the reward it craves. Finally, use positive reinforcement. This is the icing on the cake. Every time you complete a task or hit a goal, reward yourself. This doesn't have to be anything major. It could be a 5-minute break, a piece of your favorite chocolate, or even a quick dance around the room. The key here is to associate the completion of tasks with immediate positive reinforcement. This way, your brain starts to link the act of completing tasks with the reward, rather than the act of procrastination. By breaking down tasks, setting clear goals, and using positive reinforcement, you're training your brain to seek out the rewards it craves in the right places. You're making your brain work for you, rather than against you. With this reprogramming, you're taking control of your dopamine system, not the other way around. The final step is to maintain the momentum. Now that you've identified your rewards and reprogrammed them, it's crucial to make these changes a consistent part of your everyday life. This isn't a one-and-done deal. Think of it as a lifestyle shift. Consistency is the backbone of any successful change. It's the difference between a fleeting idea and a lifelong habit. If you're consistently implementing these new reward systems, you're creating a positive feedback loop. You're teaching your brain to associate productivity with pleasure rather than procrastination. But how do you maintain this consistency? Well, there are a few strategies that can help. One of the most effective is tracking your progress. Whether you're using a fancy app or a good old-fashioned pen and paper, seeing your progress visualized can be a powerful motivator. It's a tangible way to see how far you've come and how close you are to reaching your goals. Another strategy is to celebrate small victories. You don't have to wait until you've completely eradicated procrastination from your life to give yourself a pat on the back. Every time you choose productivity over procrastination, that's a win. Treat it as such. Let's say you've been procrastinating on a big project for work. Instead of waiting until the project is complete to celebrate, reward yourself each time you make progress. Did you finally start the project? That's a win. Did you make it halfway through? Another win. By doing this, you're creating a positive association with productivity. You're reinforcing the idea that productivity is rewarding, which in turn makes it easier to choose productivity in the future. Consistency might not be the most glamorous part of this process, but it's arguably the most important. It's the glue that holds everything together. Without it, you're just tossing ideas into the wind and hoping they stick. But with it, you're building a solid foundation for a more productive, less procrastination-prone future. Remember, consistency is key in this dopamine hack. So, what happens when you successfully implement this dopamine hack? Let's recap. You start by identifying rewards, those dopamine hits that keep you locked in a cycle of productive procrastination. Next, you reprogram those rewards, shifting your brain's focus towards tasks that truly matter. Finally, you maintain the momentum, keeping your brain satisfied and productive. This dopamine hack isn't just a one-time trick, it's a sustainable strategy that taps into the brain's natural reward system. By consistently applying this method, you can expect to see big improvements in your productivity. No longer will you be trapped in a cycle of meaningless tasks. Instead, you'll find satisfaction in completing the tasks that truly drive you forward. But the benefits don't stop there. Overcoming productive procrastination can lead to greater satisfaction in life overall, as you'll be spending your time on tasks that truly matter to you. So there you have it. A simple yet effective dopamine hack to help you avoid the trap of productive procrastination. Now go out there and conquer those tasks.